Welcome back. We've got our second series around the corner. Team Spirit going to be taking on the boys on HYDRA. We saw earlier today it was a clean 2-0. Hoping we go the distance here, Danog, in our final series of the night.
Yeah, we'll see which Spirit turns up, right? They've become a bit of a lose game 1 and then dominate games 2 and 3 sort of team so far, sitting 3-0 on their series count. We've been kind of saying, I have at least, with the form that's coming through, BetBoom number 1, Spirit just keeping their consistent second place finish and, getting about top 8 at the major, and then maybe 9 Pandas coming into third place, of course, VP with that previous win. Ball still in their court, but Spirit, they're set up to be able to have a pretty good time.
Yeah, that they are indeed. And, well, for HYDRA, this is also... they're in a very similar position to what One Move were with that previous series and how we were kind of setting up those boys in particular. This is getting to the stage where you lose this series, you're in a lot of trouble where you could be potentially on the line for some tiebreakers. So for them... They're against a difficult opponent in Team Spirit, who is actually their other series as well. They got to verse 9 Pandas too. So, all right, Their run home, that's a really tough one for HYDRA. So, if you get one, I think one series victory probably puts you out of tiebreaker contention. But even then, that's not even guaranteed. But at least you just got to get one. If you lose both those remaining 2 series, then you are in a really rough position to potentially be relegated.
Don't know if they're going to, though. It's probably 2 of the harder teams that you could potentially face going up into this. And yeah, that's the thing, right? Outside of the top 3, it is very even across the board. So the line between relegated and staying in Div 1 and even potentially that third place is really blurry, So a single bad performance can really put you under. Have a look over in the NA region, right? Nouns are probably going to the Bali Major just because they were finally able to beat TSM.
It's the big thing. It's really crazy how it's like that. You saw it needs to be said. You got to beat the other lesser teams, but really you're expected to do that. As long as you can get a win against the top dogs, the teams who you're honestly really competing for to make it over, then really bumps up your chances to go to the Bali Major, the final major of the year as well. So that's one that everyone would go. The C Major. So one that everyone would like to attend, and especially being in Bali as well, to represent your hometown, so represent your country, represent your region. So we'll see. HYDRA, of course, they're not in a position where they're going to be able to contest that. But of course, still that top 3 slots are yet to be determined.
Yeah, I would say it's not 100% mathematical. I'd say BetBoom are pretty much there. They've beaten one of their other top 3 opponents already. They've got a few easier matches to come. They can afford to drop one. Obviously, they don't. They still desperately need the DPC points. But BetBoom are there. If Spirit win this series, they're going to be closing in on being there.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. So we'll see how close they're going to be able to get. Of course, we do have our game 1 starting up very shortly. HYDRA going to be on the Radiant side with first pick, Spirit on the Die side with second pick. Like you said, though, Spirit in all 3 series, they've lost game 1. So, Danog, should we be speaking about game 2?
You're just writing it down already, huh? Just put it in the books. They're losing game 1. I wonder how much of that impacts Spirit's choice to choose second pick, because they won the coin flip. They chose second pick for themselves, so maybe just wanting to make sure that they're not... Because each one of their losses has been kind of like a dumpstering as well, hasn't it? It hasn't really been all that close. So if they can just set up their lanes to at least have the potential to go into the later stages, they can bank on a lot of their experience to maybe, let them pull out all the stops. We've seen Magnus late game, what Collapse is able to do with that. I think HYDRA, of course, still incredibly skilled, and Maposhka as well, just being able to play around that vision in the late game. Broken record, but Dota, all about vision, and Maposhka is one of the best at providing it for his team.
Yeah, that is. A lot of people always singing his praises, pro player.
I bought one pro player sticker, and it's Maposhka's, and that's for a pretty good reason.
Definitely one of the better 5s a lot of people like to emulate with what he's able to do for the team. It was a big reason why they're able to, of course, get that TI victory back at TI 10. Of course, looking to try and have some similar form. Even keep in mind last year as well, they won the Arlington Major. Of course, it was a different roster with Toronto, Tokyo there as well, but this is a roster with very, very high potential. So we'll see what they're able to do. Of course, we're going to start it off, though. No real surprises, Hydra. Often it's a Rubik or a Techies for Lil. Looks like this game it's going to be the Techies.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty standard, right? I think you have to take this away from Mira as well. Not exactly like the most, I guess, consistent or like meta-defined hero pool that Mira likes to play. You know, he was huge on the Snap, he was huge on the Marcy, his Dark Willow was really up there as well, but you don't really see Mira being like that amazing Techies player or that amazing Rubik player, you know?
Not really, no. Like, it's...
He plays his own stuff, and that's it's interesting, right? You have to adapt. It's not just some cookie cutter team that you're looking to play against.
Which it's nice to have an individual that has their own type of style, but it can also be very it can be difficult when you lead to a patch and your heroes aren't strong at the moment. What do we make of this Bloodseeker? Because I think go back to TI10. Big thing about Yatoro was his last pick and his very, very diverse hero pool. So do we like that they've already cemented his hero in the first phase? I mean, I know Bloodseeker is very strong. Bloodseeker Lich Lane, that's very dominant, but just the fact that it's 99% going to be Yatoro playing the Bloodseeker?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they can maybe flex it to Collapse, although it doesn't really feel that great into the Medusa either. I think the big thing about this second pick that they've chosen for themselves is that I don't want to single anyone out, but a lot of the times when they've had a lot more trouble, it's been off the fact that Lyle's had a bit of a harder time in that mid lane. So just wanting to make sure that he's got the best possible matchup for himself, having that second pick, prioritizing his hero either last or the last of this upcoming phase, I think is the big priority. And I guess they just didn't see anything that Collapse wanted to play just yet with the Magnus being banned out, with them removing the Doom. I mean, Beastmaster was still in the pool, I suppose, but just wanting to get a really solid lane, I suppose, the way that Spirit have gone about this.
10 seconds remaining.
And I think for Hydra,
wonder, sorry, just one point with the Deucer. I wonder how much of that is like they just feel really comfortable playing the Deucer, and how much of it is like, well, we're not going to buff up Bloodseeker with a Thirst because my health is basically only going to be at full unless I'm dead. So it just takes away a little bit of the strength of the Bloodseeker, especially in the early game.
I think it... I mean, Medusa's a very broken hero, so there's not too much...
Strong, not broken anymore.
True. Strong, not broken, but the fact that I think Karma has been their biggest link for Hydra. I've been very impressed with a lot of the games we've casted up Hydra. It always seems like Karma is having some good games, so the fact that you were just mentioning before, like Spirit maybe leaving last hero towards the end of the draft to maybe enable his game a little bit more, and for Hydra potentially doing that for Warwick along with Cloud as well, because a lot of the games we're seeing, Kami has had some very good showings out of them, and you get a very strong hero in the Deucer now for him.
So Bloodseeker, not exactly a diffuser builder. You really like building diffusal against the Medusa. It's not going to be on the Pangalia. It's not going to be a Wind Ranger, is it, that's going into the diffusal? I mean, we've seen plenty of it in the core roles not have too much success. I feel like you have to play it as core in order to enable it, and it feels great against the Medusa, right? You just basically sacrifice your own game to make sure that the enemy's like hard carry does not have a game. Although we have also seen, was it Lil that played the Deucer? I feel like it was. Remember?
I'm not sure.
I remember casting something where
that we casted?
I want to say yes.
We've...
Let me look it up.
Okay, I want to say no. Yeah, you go for it. I don't remember seeing a full Medusa. You're definitely tripping. This.
No. I absolutely remember watching it.
Maybe watching it, but not that we casted.
Maybe. It was definitely something.
Well, you look that up. With the Wind Ranger as well, I think there's even potential for it to still be played as a 4. I know you just mentioned maybe you'd prefer it as a carry, as a core. But I saw FI actually had a lot of success playing versus Deucer. He rushed Diffusal Blade against it and was just such an issue as the game went on, and scaled into the later game as well. I mean, still it seems like, Collapse's hero pool is very melee oriented. You see Primal Beast banned out, Mag, Spirit Breaker, and the Axe. I mean, that's 4 melee heroes, so the Wind Ranger would give them some flex. Lara can play it, but then you could potentially give it to Mirror. It kind of seems like a Mirror hero as well. But that being said, have you been able to find out?
No, but I'm sure it was a thing. I'm positive.
Are you looking on that Dota, or are you looking on?
I'm just looking on the past games in Eastern Europe. When
Yeah, I'll
was
find it. Give me a sec.
All right, here we go. The man, the myth, the legend, the explorer. I don't even know.
Me? Is this what we're speaking about?
Sure, why not? Where was it?
You
being played?
Team spirits, turn
Alright, well,
to pick.
we won't both do it. Ben Coddle. Okay, so just your Coddle Deucer pairing. So because a huge buff, and we're gonna get the Bat Ride as well for Spirit. So there's even some more flex. One of the few range heroes, Collapse will play it, Lal can play it, and I believe I've seen Mira even play the Bat Rider as well so far in the summer tour.
We have. I've stopped looking. I'm 100% sure it was played as a support though. So, unless I was dreaming and it was a really lucid dream and I can't differentiate between dreams and reality, which it's possible. I still think there's a very small potential for it, and I wonder if maybe Team Spirit just not wanting to go too heavy into a Deucer counter if they've got the potential to just shove it to a position 4.
So anyone or Lil, you think? Because Lil hasn't.
I just remember
But
seeing
are
it
we
as a
going
position
to
4.
anyone now?
It was playing in the top lane. That's all I remember.
Okay, alright. Well, it'll remain a mystery. Maybe someone can help us out. But let's see what the response for HYDRA is going to be. I mean, now you're potentially considering about a Dispel versus the Bat Rider.
team pick.
Enchantress.
That's
An
aggressive
offensive
dispel, not a defensive
yeah.
one. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just wanting something that's going to do well against this Lich Bloodseeker lane. Like, you get the Frost Shield off, and then you can actually look to dispel it in the lane. Gives a bit of a response to the Lich as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Just up against the Bat Rider, is there potential for something like,
5
could you just
seconds.
pick the Wind Ranger mid for this?
Spirits,
And then
turn
assume that it's going to be a Bat Rider mid? I know it's a lot of assuming, but like, you can get away from a Bat Rider in the lane. You can secure last hits with it, and you can still build it into the Diffusal, which feels pretty nice. Even just against the Tidehunter, right? Diffusal's pretty good. You know, you could just drain his mana, and then he
10
can't actually
seconds
Anchor Smash, and your Bloodseeker's heavily enabled.
5 seconds remaining.
So we'll see. We'll see what they choose to do.
Radiant team
I mean, just
back.
having Bloodseeker themselves feels quite nice, and yeah, there we go. Looks like it is a flex of the Bloodseeker coming through. So, I mean, you do want the Juggernaut going up into the Tidehunter, right? Like, if you're building into Kraken Shell, if you're building into Vanguard, Spin
10
plus
seconds
Lich
remaining.
still gets you kills. That's the big thing. And neither this Enchantress,
5
unless
seconds
she,
remaining.
gets a few points in the enchant and gets a lucky Wild Wing Ripper creep with the
Spirits,
Hurricane,
turn to
can't really do
ban.
too much to be able to save the Tidehunter from any sort of engagements on that. So I like this overall. And I'm assuming that maybe this is going to be that position 3 Bloodseeker plus the Bat Rider, right? It still feels like a pretty strong lane with the Bat having the potential to scale later stages. They do ban out the Wind Ranger.
10 seconds
Nicely done.
remaining.
But the thing is, still, again, we're making a
5
bunch of assumptions
seconds
about where
remaining.
exactly Lar's going to play this. But if it is Lar's hero next, they've saved it until last. They're going to have the response to whatever HYDRA are going to throw at them. So
Radiant team
I really
back.
don't mind this Team Spirit draft so far. There's a lot of mids being banned out, though. I mean, what's even left? Ember, Void, Leshrac, DP are probably the meta ones that are still left in the pool. Meta-ish.
10 seconds remaining.
Out of the pool, what do we feel like can
5
cover some of the
seconds
weaknesses that HYDRA currently have with their lineup?
HYDRA, they're lacking damage. For sure, early on. Like, what are you doing in the early game? It's really like all Enchantress to be able to take a bunch of these towers, but if you go too far, you're just going to die because you've got a good amount of magic, and Untouchable really isn't going to do anything against that.
Spirits, turn to ban.
Tide can sit in front of towers, but again, like, you can just rupture him and then make a run in onto him. What can he do other than TP away? And they've got ways to be able to cancel that. So I really am a little worried about HYDRA just needing someone to be able to potentially make plays around, or at least have
10
like a
seconds remaining.
counter initiation response to, HYDRA starts to run at you. Sorry,
5
Spirit starts to
seconds
run at you.
remaining.
Tide soaks up a little bit, but you got to get kills going back the other way with like a turnaround Ravage or something. So it's not the puck.
Man, this
Not enough damage for Puck to be able to play around with, in my opinion. Puck is nice for the Tide and the Deucer. This is alright, you know? Doesn't need much to get online, but now I feel like you just flex the Bat to mid, and Bat's going to have a totally fine time against the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, but Ember matchup's fine versus Bat right mid as well.
It's
You're
fine,
with
but
all
the Bat's still pretty
10
good
seconds
into it.
remaining.
Again, like, pretty sure Bat's a universal hero now as well, right?
5 seconds
Yep.
remaining.
So he's going to be scaling in terms of damage. Doesn't even necessarily need to go all in onto the intellect side of things. Oh, they could they invoke her? I wanted an invoker right here. They've got Bat Rider to go in first as a position 4. It's a Skywrath Mage. Okay, just more damage, more magic damage especially, up against the Tide Hunter. Always feels good, and they know that with the Rupture, Cloud's not just going to be able to walk out of any sort of aggressive attempt that they've got. Would have loved the Invoker though, right? Going up against an Ember Spirit, crushes him, EMP against the Deucer and the Tide Hunter would have been great, but I guess feeling like they needed a little bit more of that early tempo.
And just some extra control as well, right? For the Ember. Like that Ancient Seal is going to be huge for a little bit of extra ways to be able to hold him into place. I mean, Mirror plays a hell of a Sky. He's going to be able to buff the Bat Rider damage too, but I agree. I also would have liked a Invoker for the last pick and to flex the Bat as a 4,
10
but
seconds remaining.
let's see. Let's see what we have in store for us. There's a lot of question marks. I feel like I prefer Hydra's lineup, I think, as the game goes on, but there is some, like, just this Bloodseeker off lane is, I don't know. I've seen this hero lately just not really do a whole lot, where you get a couple items and then you don't scale and you're just a useless 3. I think that at least he's going to have value where you have Rupture into Lasso, and that's pretty much a guaranteed kill on anyone but the Tide, because he can probably break the Lasso with the Kraken, but that's at least one thing. Like, as the game goes on, he will have a way to play Dota if he combines his ultimate with Bat Rider, but he might fall behind. And I see HYDRA, like, I feel like they've got pretty good team fight with the Tide. You've got ways to make plays with the Ember Techies, but
It's got to go late.
about this game one.
It's got to go late. That's the thing. So we'll see. We'll see if it does go late or not. I feel like Spirit, they're going to definitely be looking to get on the front foot. They've given Lyle what they feel is the good matchup for him. And let's see if he's able to execute off the back of it, because Warwick on the Ember Spirit, he's going to need to put in a really solid performance to make space for this Tide and the Deucer to really come online. So we'll get into game 1. We've got a little promo from EGB first before we get into the action.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600, cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
So I think the ultimate question, Danog, again, the Oracle, the one we always look to for the ultimate wisdom. As we see, I mean, the EGB odds are very much favoring Team Spirit, but this is a Spirit that do not look good in game 1s, and maybe with a pre-horn fight could help out. Mirror's just gonna...
Not the one you want to put on the front lines. I mean, yeah, of course they got vision.
The ward.
Sure,
That's
but they
it.
could just get rid of it, surely. Maybe look to keep it just for this this bounty rune and then deny it, but that's crazy just to put a Skywrath Mage on the front lines. Maybe the Bat, but
30 seconds to battle.
I don't know what Maposhka did to get the tip, but whatever.
some kind of a joke. Maybe.
So even with the first blood going Hydra's way, we've seen Spirit look very rough in game 1s. Do we feel like they at least have a lineup to excel with?
On Hydra, sorry, or Spirit?
So on Spirit. Because game 1's no bueno for Spirit, but what about this game 1?
To me, it's going to be dependent on, like, I feel like this lane should go fine enough for Kami. I say that, but he's getting a little bit of the business right now. Even the Blood Grenade being popped to potentially chase him down. Happy. Not really going to give too much value out of his Nature's Attendants, of course.
But he's dead.
Yeah,
Blood Right's up soon.
See ya.
No way.
Don't even look at him. Just turn away, run back to the lane. They were even able to get the deny off. Sorry, not the deny, the D ward off. So even more experience going over to Mirror. They're already level 1.5 on this Skywrath Mage, so he is going to be pumping in a lot of harassment into this Medusa. She's at least got the magic wand already completed, so plenty of stats for herself, but it isn't really the easiest lane to go up into. The thing that I was going to be talking about was, I feel like this top lane, speaking of top, by the way, Lil, is he going to get a solo kill onto Meposhka? Oh, don't walk into it. He'll still kill him anyway. One more.
Whoa. Okay, far out. Very
This is
close
what I wanted
not
to
getting
happen.
it in the end.
What Lil is doing right now is what I wanted to happen. You just be able to get that pull off. Again, it's harder to do now that the small camp is so close to the lane, but he doesn't even need to use the sentry. Just blocks it off for long enough so that, you know, there's no spin available. Tide knows this. That's why he's going in so deep. Maybe a bit too deep. What the? No Kraken Shield yet?
I don't know.
That is way too deep. Alright, well, mistakes like that really don't make things very easy, and kind of makes up for the fact that Meposhka did die that first time in the lane up on the top side. Even just getting the half pull off very nicely done, so that this lane is going to be in a pretty rough spot once it does push back towards Team Spirit.
Happy's dead too. What is Mira's gonna die as well? What is going on? This is a wild start.
I think it's just on Mira getting that early experience, right? He was level 1.5 before they were level anything on HYDRA, and he used all of his mana. He went all out, just that early point into the Arcane Bolt and just spammed. He was on basically 0 mana by the time he died, so he's very happy to be able to make that trade. But yeah, it's just about getting Cloud into... I'm not sure if the Boots of Speed is going to be enough to provide him safety, but to get into at least that Ring of Health as he's looking to build into the Meteor Hammer, I really don't hate this either, just to give them another way to look to create a little bit of extra space. Don't put everything onto Happy to be able to do it on the Enchantress. It is still all the Deucer. I guess they're feeling that Kami hasn't really been countered by any of their picks so far. Unless, like, is Juggernaut considering going into a Diffusal eventually? Can skill it up into the Disperser, I guess, later on, but none of these other heroes really want to do it.
I mean, this is a Yatoro Juggernaut, though. Whatever the choice is going to be for him. Actually, hold that thought, because Meposh is going to give another kill all over to HYDRA. So, I mean, this is a very scary setup if Meposhka's ever caught out of position like we've seen a couple times now. But if it's Spirit getting aggressive, then the flurry of spells they have...
Like, all these stats that he's got, this Techie's hero just crowned 3 branches, a circlet, and he's hitting for 75 damage from the longest range in the game. Balanced. That's what you call that.
Yeah. He's going to go double crown.
Yep.
So is this...
Atos.
Are we going Atos? Okay.
Could be just to build into the Solar Crest and it's just, you know, decent stats. Maybe even... Hold on a second. He's getting a little bit of the business as well as the Frost Shield comes out onto the top side, but that's the downside of going in onto a Techie's, right? Is that you can always just make that jump away unless you've got that Sinister Gaze to be able to interrupt it mid-jump.
You probably go 1-1-1 build, yeah, for Meposhka, because it's very easy to be able to get in range and stop the jump away. Like, it's going to be obvious, it's not difficult to time. So would you like to see that instead of a second point in Blast?
I think it depends. Like, if it might just be a decision of, alright, we'll go on Cloud instead, but with the farm that he's picking up, he's already got the Ring of Health. He might choose to go into the Boots of Speed as his next item, just to, again, be able to position himself.
Man, Mirror and Collapse have so much damage between the two. And now Kami actually... Hang on a second. Deuce is going to get chased down as well with a big stick. Kami. Okay, it repairs a lot of the damage. Mirror's still trying to be a bit of a nuisance. Another round of the Blood Rite as well. They might still be up... Dude, it's still... It still will always amaze me at how much damage Deuce takes when the mana is completely gone. Half health evaporates from the Blood Rite, but it means Collapse has to go deep under the tower. So he's in some trouble. Stick not enough as Happy does get some revenge, but I'm sure Spirit more than okay with the exchange with the second death now for Kami.
Collapse dominating a lane. Tell me something new. He's 3-1-1 right now. Deucer already dying a couple of times, and he needs to get off to this good start if they're going to provide that extra level of control. He's actually going into an Atos for himself, so again, if you're playing this offlane style, probably can't get away with just going for like the Mjolnir sort of style, and of course you can still look to scale into a Gleipnir later on if he feels like he needs that extra control and damage. Right now it's just about enabling the Skywrath Mage because of the good start that he and Mira have had. Like 5.5 minutes, level 4 and a bit on Skywrath Mage, very happy with that.
And real quick before we get any more action in the side lanes, both Warwick and Lyle, they're both having a really good time. 30-10 compared to the 30-9. It is pretty much even, it looks like, with the net worth. Just a slight advantage for Lyle, I think about 100, nothing too crazy. This is really where it might be able to turn the tide. So we've got level 6 coming up shortly and the first power rune spawn. It's going to be top though for Lil. So the Bat Rider, nor Warwick's going to be able to snag that one. Go for
a bit of a kill attempt onto Voshka.
Nice,
There's that
very
Sinister
nice.
Gaze.
Lil though, still not easy to chase down.
That haze.
Ace Rune still got about a quarter duration left. Lyle's been able to stack up some of the sticky, but now it gets purged off and...
Lil, so
they're
annoying.
gonna... Yeah, okay.
Lil and Lyle, iconic duo. Yeah, 80 damage, by the way, on this techies. Just doing more and more to consistently harass in the lane. I was almost wondering if they might look to go for a bit of a dive attempt onto the Ember Spirit because he was not yet level 6 prior to all of that happening, but with all the space being created by Lil, he's able to get into it, and now you're not really as concerned about Bat Rider going for that kill as down bottom. Kami, oh no, they've got the lasso available. They're going to be able to kill him. No level 6 for
Meanwhile as
Kami.
well, the...
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Warwick should be able to get Miposhka as well.
Radiant's courier has been
Lich is going to end up going down. Yatoro wanted actually to pop the Omni Slash, but Warwick is going to remnant to be able to get out. So first Omni off the game, Yatoro not able to get a kill.
Was never really going to get any use out of it in this lane, I don't think, so it's worth going for it just to see if he was a little slow on the fingers, perhaps, with going for those fire remnants, but yeah, Warwick able to get back to safety. Dusa had, like, probably the best first, like, 2 or 3 waves despite giving up that early kill, but she has really fallen behind, just forced all the way back to the base, even a smoke being bought to be able to get her out to this lane a little bit faster after that TP coming in from Lyle. And, you know, we were talking about how important it was for Team Spirit to make sure that Lyle was enabled because of the relatively rough start that he's had to some of these previous series. Not this time around. He's doing a nice job.
They've got some stacks as well to be able to buff up his farm, so Route of Travel is going to be at a great timing. I think there's no stack actually at the Ancients, just a couple at the hard camp for him, but he might even be able to get a kill as well, especially with Mira wrapping through the river. Warwick wants something else to say about it though. Looks like it might be an exchange of supports. So 1 for 1, both mid laners going to be able to secure the kill. Nice injection of gold for them.
You'd say the most important thing, though, is Lyle getting that kill so that he gets that really early Boots of Travel, right? Because it's a pretty simple formula. Collapse holding on to the 1 point right now, so he wants that Rupture available just to be able to immediately go on to Kami. Might even look to bait out another TP from him as well. Just use the Rupture in onto the Deucer, try and get it a TP out, bots in on the Bat Rider, get the kill. Slow down the farm.
Speaking about Collapse, you mentioned before, like, kind of offlane Bloodseekers, their item build, we don't really see a lot of the Maelstrom.
Dire's middle tower.
Would you kind of prefer it, though, this game? Like, he's top net worth. It feels like he's got a great opportunity just to be able to scale if he does go for this steroid.
You can still scale, though.
and then
I
maybe-
think the more important thing is just preventing the Deucer from scaling. And you've already got the Bat Rider having a good game to enable that. But Atos plus Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare, that's going to do a similar sort of thing, right? So you'll get a few kills, you'll slow down the Deucer, and then you can still go into the Gleipnir as well to be able to assist with your own scaling.
Okay. Mid lane, Lol. Oh, they're actually even going to try and TP Collapse in.
Dire's middle
Rupture, of course, is at the ready. Lil, nice reaction, though. Not going to be fast enough, however. Lol's going to be able to step in with the lasso used, but that is a worthwhile exchange for HYDRA. You're able to get the tower
bottom tower.
and
very
sacrifice the
worthwhile.
life of Lil.
I mean, I really feel like they had this big opening to be able to make a play onto Kami on this bottom side, but in the meantime, he's able to go back to the jungle. Again, use the dire advantage when playing this Deucer with the mana regen from the Well Wishers debuff from that bottom line of creeps, and then just shoves the lane back in. Walks back out, farms. He's at least got this Observer Ward to be able to play around with this time that's stayed up and hasn't quite yet been dewarded, despite the fact that Mira's got a sentry close by. What happened with the Wisdom runes as well? Collapse got one, and Mira got the other. Okay, so nicely done for Team Spirit. I'm a little surprised that Mira is still level 6 off the back of all of that happening, though. You know, he was 4.5 at 5.5 minutes in, and 2 Wisdom Rings, and he's still not 6. So maybe just look to soak up a little bit of this Ancient XP. Might just be sitting in this creep wave as well.
Well, top lane. Omni-Slash used for Yutoro. Quick timing out of the Blade Fury,
Ravage is
but
up.
he doesn't have enough mana to be able to TP out, so as soon as the Blade Fury expires, they're going to be able to catch up to him with ease. Warwick wants a healing ward as well, plus 75. Thank you very much.
It's important that Lyle got all of those stacks for sure, but again, it doesn't really synergize together perfectly. You know, going into the Boots of Travel and then spending the next couple of minutes farming, where he could be, you know, looking to make a kill happen. Collapse down here on the bot side. He's had the Rupture skilled up, but hasn't actually gotten too much use out of it just at this point. And you know that the Deucer is farming relatively close by. Fortunately for Kami, the Observer Ward just about to expire. Not before he sees Collapse, though, walking on towards him. But you just see Lyle instantly makes his way down. He's going to make the jump. Stone Gaze doesn't have a point in it.
Okay, and that might be life or death now for Kami. They're actually going to try and TP out, but Collapse just has the damage to be able to secure the kill.
Oh, no Rupture. Has Collapse got Atos coming out? No, 650 gold away. So I'm not sure if Mira's going to be able to do all that much down in this lane. Might be better served towards just picking up a little bit of his own farm for mid. He'll just take a bounty rune for now, but yeah, it's around that Bat Rider and the Bloodseeker that he really wants to make a lot of this action happen. And well, we've been speaking a lot about Spirit. Happy, he's doing a decent job up on this top side as well, right? He's now got the Wildwing Ripper to be able to play around with, both good for pushing as well as in a lot of these team fights, right? Just to be able to get away from the Mystic Flare, get away from the Omni Slash, even just a Bat Rider trying to chase you.
Yeah. Do we feel like there's any big winners or losers at this stage of the game? Because 9 to 10 kill count, 1,000 net worth lead for Spirit. Taking a look at the net worth, like it's very, very even. But were you expecting some people to have a better time than others?
I was expecting them to maybe put a little bit even more emphasis onto shutting down the Deucer. But to be fair, like, you don't quite have this first, like, active item on Collapse. He's just got enough gold to buy the Atos now, so maybe now is the time that they just flick the switch and say, alright, time to just go this full-on gang style.
Warwick. It's going to be HYDRA that look to try and flip the switch first. Look at the kill. Tower's going to go down. Spirit, they will be able to...
Before the 14-minute mark, so Wisdom Rune potentially opened up for the team. Of course, whenever you're playing against a Bat Rider, you know how capable he is of taking a bunch of these stacks. So they're just scouting out, seeing if there are any Ancients available. And look at Lil, even just cutting off every single entrance to this area with those proximity mines, so that you're always going to know, first and foremost, even if there's like a smoke attempt into it. Look at Mira. He might just be walking up into his own death in a second. Ooh. Ooh.
Can they fight this though? It's just Cloud now. Happy's starting to move over, but it looks like with 4 heroes on Spirit, at least be able to take the Wisdom Rune away. But again, that's a lot of heroes that aren't farming. You see on the opposite side of the map, Kami buying up a stack of the Ancients, Wisdom Rune if he wants to take it. He's closing on the Manta Star, Yutoro as well. He's just free farming with the Battle Fury. Looks like he too is going to be going for a... Actually, it's Diffusal queued up. Let's see what he wants to go for. I think there's even Diffusal, Sanjin Yasha, so let's see actually what that second item is going to be after the Battle Fury.
Plenty of attack speed is really what you want, right? Just, you kind of get that effect with the Wind Ranger, of course, going up against the Deucer, but if you could just have Omni Slash doing a similar sort of job, why not? Even Collapse, looking to go into the Solar Crest, buff up some attack speed even more, potentially.
Speaking of Collapse, Smoke's going to pop Warwick.
Nicely done.
Pretty good timing out of the Invis. Be able to chain him up and instant rem and away.
Happy's doing a great job of cutting these waves as well, isn't he? Like, just using the Centaur Conqueror to be able to keep mid shoved away from the tower. They haven't lost a single tier 1, and that's a huge plus for this Deucer lineup.
I mean, Grandmaster Enchantress, Happy, one of his best heroes, and with all the farm that he's been able to get from shoving out the lane thanks to his creeps, I mean, he's gonna try and scale with this Hurricane Pike queued up.
Feels pretty nice, going up against these heroes that are consistently trying to run at you, even just providing a little bit of save. He can get it from his creeps, but...
Warwick? He's in a lot of trouble now. No one's there to cancel the TP. So, instant blow up, rupture used, and an easy escape for the Ember.
Kami's recovering his net worth. Like, I'm sure he sees the build that Juggernaut's looking to go into. You know, as soon as he sees that Blade of Alacrity, he might assume that that Diffusal Blade is coming, and it is on the courier right now. So straight Battle Fury for him, straight Butterfly for the Medusa, wanting to avoid as many of those right clicks as possible, make sure that his mana is A-okay.
There's a lot of back and forth, like trades here and there. One pick off for a double kill, but no real big team fight just yet. Either side not feeling strong enough to be able to group as 5. Maybe they're going to think about Happy mid lane as Collapse. The Atos being able to set up. A little bit too late with the follow-up though from Mira. Now as a result, he steps over the river and Will's able to jump in. Another kill for Warwick as well. 6-0-1. This is about to be a BKB completed, it looks like, for him, and they're ready to go. Smoke is full.
Radiant's top tower is
Yeah,
under
I mean,
attack.
no Rupture available for a little bit. No Mystic Flare, I think, is the bigger one. You know, he just wants to make sure that he's not going to get burst down completely when he goes for this jump, as, well, they'll take anything right now just to take attention away. Tumbler's Toy on Tumbler's Toy, a little bit cute with that sort of play. He's happy. He has to be careful. Can he get the D-Ward off at least before his death? Looks like he will, but it's just more space away from the Medusa, right? I think once Kami gets into that Butterfly, he's going to be happy to start fighting. He could just choose to go into like a Skadi as well. Feels pretty good this game against the Jug Spin, against some of the lifesteal coming through from Collapse as well, against a ranged hero and Lyle, and even just reducing the attack speed. A lot of people talk about the movement speed that it allows you to just stand and man fight, but at 60 attack speed reduction when you're going up against a Fusel Blade feels really good too.
Yeah. Definitely does. Yutoro's already got an MKB queued up even before seeing the Deuce's item, so well aware. I mean, that's going to be later on in his build, but I imagine for Kami, once he gets his Butterfly, it's going to be time for him to group up with the boys and start running down objectives. That's definitely the power of the Medusa. You've got a very strong double item timing over some of the other carries. Once again, happy. This time, Lyle's actually going to be forced to use the lasso. So it looks like another pretty easy kill. They're going to instantly be able to run away on the retreat. Lyle gets an Arcane Rune, so they might look to go again if they can feed some mana over to Lyle. Another mango. Dude, he just got big triple mangoes given to him. So yeah, they're ready to go.
We'll find a quick pick-off, but where is that initiation going to come from is my big question. Collapse not quite playing with him just yet. He's
What
as far
the
away as
hell?
possible.
Dude, Lil, what? Alright, what's going on inside the jungle, Cloud? Might be forced to use the defensive Ravage. He's got Warwick to play with. In fact, the Ravage can help them get the kill onto Lala's. Even Kami looking to step in. Yutori's even going to want to get involved as well. But the Stone Gaze activated. Kami's going to send Team Spirit over to the right side. Perhaps he wants something else to say about it though. Ruptures at the ready. They don't really have that lasso to be able to follow up. It's a great cliff fort though to give them the information required. Warwick though, need to run them over the top of the chains, connects onto one, but Warwick's in some danger now. He's got the BKB. He's going to be able to use it defensively. Slide as well to mitigate some of the damage. Yutori can't stand his ground with Kami nearby. There's going to be no one to be able to pump in the damage into the ruptured target, so Spirit need to try and disengage as best as they can with the horn sounded. They're going to be able to get out, but two heroes are the casualty of war.
Happy's getting a lot of damage off in these fights is all I gotta say. You know, he's starting to scale as well. Just the one point in the Nature's Attendance, but holding on to things like the Pupil's Gift, getting all of those stats from the Dragon Lance as well, really starting to benefit him. And, you know, there isn't exactly anyone outside of this this Bat Rider that's able to find that jump in onto the backlines. I think from HYDRA's perspective, to me, it's all on Warwick and Happy. They have been playing so well this game so far. Warwick just knowing how to play on the edge, right? Multiple times TPing away, realizing the relative lack of stuns that Spirit have to play around. Not a single death just yet. And Happy making so much space as well. Might pay for it this time.
But he does have some boys with him. Although Team Spirit, even with them taking a fight on their side of the map, they're even going to be able to bring the numbers just in case. But the lasso use along with the Mystic Flare gets the kill onto Kami. That's the big one they were looking for, to be able to slow down Medusa's game. 5th death for Kami. 20 minutes in. That's crazy to see him still in the position he is in regards to the net worth. But it looks like Spirit, they're going to be able to add another one to the tally. As Collapse catches up to Happy, and they can now maybe chain this into a tower if they want to. Looks like they want to go for mid, though.
Might just be mid, yeah. I mean, again, they don't really have the greatest tower-taking lineup, right? I mean, that was just Kami perhaps getting a little bit too excited with how well his team has been playing around him. Doesn't quite have the Butterfly picked up yet, so was subject to a lot of that mana burn coming through from the Juggernaut. Really good use of the lasso as well before he was able to get off that full 20 magic one charge. Probably would have been able to survive off the back of that.
For the twins.
And that's the sort of stuff that, for Warwick and Happy, again, they've still been doing such an amazing job at creating space for this Dusa, but you got to pay it back. You got to make sure that you're not giving your life up for free before you hit that big item timing, and he is going the Skadi straight after the Talisman of Evasion. It makes a lot of sense, right? Just to be able to not only provide a little bit more potential to just standard man fight, but it's effectively like a huge protective item for yourself because of what you do to the Diffusal Blade too. And you can see instantly Yatoro with that MKB queued up. Wants to get into the Swift Slash as well, so just more stuff that's just going to go whack, whack, whack with the damage, with the Diffusal Blade, get rid of as much of that mana pool on the Dusa as possible. He's going to be given over the Solar Crest every single time that he looks to make an aggressive move forward. Might even just Blood Rage the Juggernaut as well when they go for those attempts.
And they want to force a fight that they know that multiple heroes are down bottom from HYDRA with this deep Observe Ward inside the jungle.
They don't have high ground vision either. Yeah, even just using the Skeleton Warrior, it's got 5 seconds left until it pops, but they don't even move it on into the pit. Once again, Kami on the front lines. This time he has the Butterfly, though.
Toro. It's going to be the first point of contact with the Stone Gaze used. It's an early ultimate out of the Medusa, but the Blade Fury is going to expire shortly. Yatoro, but a duck into the tree line, turns with the Only Sash as well. It's a lot of damage on Akame to start the fight, but the Deuce is in trouble. But the Mystic Snake gets plenty of mana back. Kame's okay, another turnaround. They can rip apart Team Spirit. It's a 2 for 3, but with Warwick still alive, they can close the distance. Mirror, though, great read of the TP out. Would just be able to escape inside the tree line, but nonetheless, it's going to be HYDRA that come out on top at the fight by Roche.
It was a good use of the Ravage, even better BKB pops by Lyle, just quick fingers to be able to make sure that you still got off the majority of that drag, but like you mentioned, the Mystic Snake just so grouped up, so many heroes hit by a bunch of these AoE spells in the team fight, and I don't think we saw a Chain Frost. That might have just been the difference maker. Even just the attack speed slow, let alone the damage. They'll be able to, even without their Medusa, take that Roshan for themselves, give Warwick even more potential to be able to play on the front lines here.
And that was a fight, unfortunately for them, where they didn't have the... They didn't have the Rupture into Lasso combo, which, again, is something that we brought up in the draft, is just an easy combo to execute for Spirit, but... It was a great reaction. I mean, you just instant pop the Stone Gaze, chase down the Juggernaut. And saw Spirit, they were in shambles from there. Their formation kind of broken, and now you're given the ages to probably the standout player for HYDRA so far in this game one. Warwick 8-0-4, and now he's got a second life to work with.
And they're wanting to scale too. I mean, Happy, he's nearly got the Hurricane Pike for himself going into the Aghanim Scepter, because why not, you know, just to be able to dish out even more damage in a lot of these team fights. Lotus Orb, great pickup coming from Cloud, providing a ton of protection against the Silence from the Skywrath Mage, to be able to stop the Sinister Gaze, Omni Slash, Lasso, Rupture. Feels like an amazing game for it, and honestly, it's pretty rare that you see both a Lotus and a Lincoln Sphere, but I really wouldn't hate to see Cloud go that after he's picked up the Pipe as well. Still was able to land that good Ravage, even without the Blink Dagger as well on this Tidehunter, so he's playing a solid game too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. Do you feel like it's needed for a Blink this game on the Tidehunter, or you've maybe got the Ember to be the one to start, or you feel like Spirit are just going to be run into a Tide where it doesn't need the Blink?
Well, they weren't really running into him that time, right? They popped everything on Kami to be able to start with, but didn't actually get the kill. So, you know, if you're expending things like the Rupture, that's, you know, not stopping a Tidehunter from running in. He was just able to waltz on in. Might have got force-staffed by the Enchantress just to be able to be in that right position instantly, but, you know, it's all about the team play for me.
But the game does get much easier now for Spirit, is actually loyal. On to Collapse, being a bit of a nuisance, but he's got some backup. It's close to the tier 2 tower. Mira Miposhka gonna look to try and help out with the Chain Frost along with the Ice Spy. Miposhka doesn't get too lucky with the bounces. Somehow Lil is still alive. Ducks into the trees. The Techie's okay. Low.
He's hungry.
BKB just for a Techies.
He doesn't even get him.
No, that's not the call. And like you said, Lil doesn't even die. Now, Lyle, there's not going to be a continued chase down. Warwick thinks otherwise. They want some objectives instead. They're not even going to waste their time with just a measly Batrider.
Got to be careful as well. They do have the glyph, but okay, they're going to commit to popping it. It's a little bit scary. Of course, there will be the reset on it as well with this siege creep lane, but I mean, this is a Medusa that's nearly got into that Skadi, and then she can, as Kami has queued up, just go that full-on damage route. He's actually opted to go into the Blink Dagger next, potentially on Cloud, feeling like maybe when it is time for that siege up into the high ground, you can't run the risk of just putting a Deucer on the front lines, even with a lasso available. With a Lotus Orb for the lasso. It is a very dangerous place for someone to be going up into, you know, up against Batrider, Mag, Tusk, these sorts of heroes where repositioning is king. Gotta say as well, I haven't really felt... Okay, they'll take it. I think that's the MKB finished as well for the Jug.
Yep.
Haven't really felt too much of Collapse's presence this game, you know? Like, his item build has been a little janky for what his, like, actual objectives have been at various stages of the game. I like the fact that he's gone the Halberd. You know, the Deucer, at this point, doesn't have a BKB picked up, both to protect from the Diffusal, as well as, you know, of course, stop that disarm from coming through. But I just feel like, you know, he's kind of in two minds. Does he want to scale? Does he want to play with the rest of his team? If so, the Batrider rotations didn't really come at the same time. You know, it's just a little awkward, you know?
Yeah, the Solar Crest is actually something I wanted to bring up because they've got 2 Solar Crests on Spirit. And I was going to ask you earlier, like, if you feel like that is a bit of a mistake with Mira and Collapse both having one.
I mean, I think it gives good value. I was talking about before, like, you just want to pump as much attack speed into this Juggernaut as possible, right? So, if you could use one on the Jug plus the Blood Rage, Lyle, you'll be fine. Plus you use the other Solar Crest on the actual enemy target, so they, you know, obviously have less armor to be able to play around with. You can burst through someone, and they don't exactly have any saves just yet on HYDRA. You know, it's going to be around...
Which is the big thing.
They got the Lotus on the Tide. That's the big thing, right? So Cloud, his positioning with being able to find the Lotus onto the right hero. Just look at him. He's standing right behind the Medusa, making sure there's no way that he's going to be out of range to be able to cast this one if Lyle did go for, like, some sort of lasso play.
Man, someone else is going to have to TP bottom. It's actually going to be Kami. And with the Medusa bottom, you take a fight mid lane, Stone Gaze used to actually cancel Yatoro's TP. Oh no, Yatoro. Well, at least it's just happy. Never mind, it's not an at least. You can't even compare it. Yatoro for an Enchantress. That's not even worth it at all. Beautifully done from Kami. I was going to say, like, Yatoro big brain plays, taking T3 tower. He shoved the Ember back as he attempted to try and defend it by himself, but with Kami Stone Gaze there, they get a big kill onto the person on top of the net worth.
How long was left on that TP as well? Because, you know, it takes 3 seconds to TP, takes 3 seconds to TP out. It only takes 2 seconds for the Stone Gaze to turn into stone, so it would have been a split-second sort of thing.
So back onto the Bloodseeker, like we spoke about in the draft, at least for Collapse, he'll still have value this game. No matter what, you've got Lasso, Interrupture, but we're yet to see it, man. Like, you've even gone Blink as well on low. They're just... We're seeing it. It's unfortunate. There's been a couple of occasions where they're using their spells on separate sides of the map, and once a fight breaks out, then they're both on cooldown. So if we can see them together at this potential fight, it could be a real big issue for one person in particular on HYDRA.
I don't think the 2 of them is enough, though. They need the Juggernaut alive, and that's why HYDRA are trying to take away as much of this map while they can, just before the 30-minute mark. So they could even, with taking this Tier 2 tower, open up a future Tormentor for them to be able to steal away. But yeah, just Kami not having that Stone Gaze available. meant that maybe he was going to be vulnerable for a little bit of time, and he is going into that BKB afterwards, right? So even if the Lotuses aren't perfectly on point, you still will be able to protect some of your mana unless the chain lockdown is absolutely perfect coming through from Team Spirit. We're talking about the value of the Lincolns and the Lotus. Warwick, his next item, even though he's already got the BKB, he's got plenty of damage output with that Maelstrom, with the Orb of Corrosion, Aghanim Scepter.
Radiant are scanning.
What's the shard status like right now for HYDRA? Just the one on the techies from that Tormentor they took previously, but he does have an Aghanim Scepter as well, so, you know, maybe could look to be a little bit clever on Lil. Let's see what he gets at, like, the 37-minute mark. If he maybe gets a Ninja Gear, looks to set up a Minefield sign kind of, like, behind where they're looking to siege, so that if they go for this lasso play, you're actually having to drag them through a minefield or something crazy like that. You can just see
how Lil's going to be able to...
He just set it up next to where they've got this this ward on the high ground on the bottom side. So if anyone comes up to D ward, they'll know about it.
What a timing out of the BKB, though, from Kami, because this is now the big fight, pretty much for the status of this game. Because you've got double Halberd, so you were hoping to just completely avoid Kami inside the fights, but now with BKB, as long as he gets it off before a Halberd, that's going to be 8 seconds, 9 seconds, where you can right-click for free, and this is really the big fight. This is the one that could potentially give Spirit the lead or HYDRA the lead.
And they got the Blink Dagger on the Tidehunter as well. Hasn't yet been revealed, so it will be that surprise. As Lyle just looking to get a little bit of information, but with the Deucer illusion inside the pit, they would have seen that that sticky napalm coming through. Even just the proximity mine as well, giving a little bit of information. So, actually, it's a chain movement towards this mid lane. Maybe to try and keep this one pushed out. I mean, DD's important, but do you just smoke and go straight back bottom? Okay. Again, just feeling like that is the importance of that fight. Yatoro shoving the lane in, so there's a little bit less information for them to be able to play around with. Creeps providing a lot of that, but now they can look to put themselves up onto that high ground, at least get rid of the proximity mine.
Man, Yatoro's really split for the team, and Cloud, he's going to find an opening for the Ravage. They don't have the damage, though, to get rid of Collapse. Turns with the BKB, the Rupture, targeting down Warwick. Meanwhile, the Lasso.
Lotus, though.
Try and take Kami out of the equation, but the mana's completely gone. Kami's in some trouble. Yatoro standing strong, deals the damage, and that's going to be enough. Finally, Team Spirit able to come out on top, and that is all thanks to Yatoro's Juggernaut. The Crips raining down the damage. Now Warwick's in some trouble as well. No mana, soon to be no health. He's got a BKB, but he has no TP. They'll catch up to him inside the tree line, giving Yatoro an ultra kill. And in the end, it's a full wipe, and Spirit, they can now reap the rewards. Roche is all.
Of course, it's important that Yatoro gets that jump there, but Ravage not perfectly on point. It's the Solar Crests, though, right? They just gave them over to the Juggernaut. I'm pretty sure even the Blood Rage as well from Collapse just onto that Jug. So he was hitting, like, Super Saiyan mode, basically, just ripping through that Deuce's mana pool. I actually had Kami clicked in that fight, and he was spamming that bottle just for, you know, the extra 10 mana that it might provide between hits, but he was just attacking way too fast for it to even matter.
Man, that is just a huge fight for Spirit. All of a sudden, the net worth lead's blown out. 11,000, couple of bounty runes even picked up from Lyle. Yatoro 24 3/4. Almost has that extra talent to be able to work with. He's a gigantic issue as the game goes on, and Yatoro's Juggernaut so far in this Summer Tour, 3 from 3, 100%. He's been spamming it in pubs, one of the best Juggernauts out there, and he's trying to put the team on the back. He is alone right now, though. It's just 3 heroes and HYDRA.
Just seeing if there's any value as well from the Disperser for yourself or teammates. Means that you don't necessarily need to use the spin if you get Searing Chained, for example. Just with that active, but of course you'd love to just continue to slow down this Deucer as much as possible. I feel like the Lotus came just a split second too late as well from the Tidehunter. You can afford to use it preemptively, especially around those big fights, as they make a smoke happen, but gotta deal with this creep wave first.
Yeah, they saw Lyle TP top, so they wanted to catch out a straggler, but I see with post-grow into the proximity mine, I mean, at least they're able to get something. There'll be a 4-on-5 against the Ages. Still what? No way. No way.
Okay.
I mean, that's something, though. That's a BKB. Like, you weren't supposed to force that out. Now you're Toro. Wait, you're Toro, too. Omni-Slash used defensively. Cloud's going to jump in and take the damage, but Cloud as well is down to 1/3 health. Ravage comes out at the last second. They're going to try and turn to deal with
Deuce is out of mana.
Toro gets the blade free off. They turn their attention over the Medusa, just slashing away everyone's health pool. No one can stand strong against the Juggernaut. As once again, Toro has something else to say inside these team fights. He goes untouched.
You know, it's certainly not... Look at the damage from the techies relative to the Juggernaut just fighting around that minefield sign, but you don't traditionally view this Juggernaut as like the hyper carry, but when you've got someone that already has one of the best base attack times in the entire game, and you buff them up with all of this extra attack speed against a Medusa that gets picked off, I mean, the blink in from the Tidehunter was just to soak up a few of those Omni-Slash hits because of how fast Juggernaut's hitting, and he's level 26 as well, so he's got the extra second on the Omni-Slash duration, and man, he is just being fed through everything by the rest of his team. All that attack speed, he's even got into the moon shard for himself too. I want to see him eat an Aghanim's Blessing next, if the game even goes that long.
That might not with the fights we've seen out of Spirit. Game 1 has been their bane. Not this game though. It's all Spirit now to potentially close this out. 23,000 net worth lead. Look at the tier 2 top collapses. What's a brother doing? Everybody get the kill. Meanwhile, Lyle finds an opening for the jump onto Happy. A 1-for-1, but it's a call for a support. It's Warwick.
Pop the BKB.
Interruption now not available. Warwick wants to try and get some work done, but like you said, it's a BKB and we'll be able to get nothing out of it.
They don't really need to go right now, right? Like the Bloodseeker about to come back. They can look to just put this triangle of wards down to prevent anyone from leaving the base. And then look to potentially get some of these tier 4 neutral items as well. Of course, the 30 attack speed as well from the Mindbreaker. This is legit, like, the attack speed meta right now for Team Spirit. Just pump everything in onto this Medusa. Do they have a nullifier or anything like that on Team Spirit right now? I think someone needs to go for an Ethereal Blade right now, just to prevent anything onto Kami. Because it's not enough just to soak up the damage with your own body. I mean, Cloud, it looks like he might go for a blink into the Ghost Scepter for himself, but it's not really going to protect him all that much. I want to see him convert this one into the full E-Blade. They found the right one.
Jump. This time it's going to be targeting the Medusa with the Omni-Slash as well. Look at it. Mana and health, it's gone. Yatori just blows him up, ready to go for a second round. The retreat with the Blade Fury. Repair some of the damage. And look to go back in for the finishing blow.
Careful about going in too deep.
Oh,
no buyback coming through just yet. It's just the Aegis.
Yeah, Happy's damage is stacking up. Meanwhile, the backline Warwick's in a lot of trouble as well. Mystic Flare takes away the health. Lala's going to look for Happy as well. Collapses back alive with the Atos. Holds the Enchantress into place. When's the buyback going to come out from Kami? When do they feel like they need to force it from the Medusa? They don't have Warwick.
There it is.
To rejoin the fray. Kami's going to look to use it now, but is it even going to be able to do anything? Base is falling from Yatori. He's just going to turn. Couple of swipes. Gets rid of Happy. Cloud's in trouble now as well. They're crumbling on HYDRA. Nothing they're going to be able to deal with. Double lasso. Gets Kami. Means Yatori can go to work with the disarms there. There's no damage that Kami's going to be able to pump out. The G's are dropped. Team Spirit. Again, game 1 is... been a difficult time for them in their past couple of series, but this game against HYDRA was absolutely beautiful once we got towards the mid-game.
Yeah, I actually was focusing over onto Yatoro just for the buffs above his hero portrait. Absolutely was just given through everything. You know, the Blood Rage as well on top of everything else. He was up to 650 attack speed on this Juggernaut, and that combined with the Omni Slash. Didn't even have the Swift Slash at the time, but didn't need it. They were just on point with being able to find those pickoffs. I'll admit, it was still a bit shaky at the very start. You know, HYDRA with Warwick and Happy, they were making a ton of space. The Deuce was getting a decent amount of farm. But I really feel like that fight where they just invaded into the Team Spirit Ancient camp area without the Butterfly, and they were able to get that first big Omni Slash with the Diffusal Blade onto him, was where it really turned. You know, they started to scale so much more heavily. The Roche fight, of course, was kind of the nail in the coffin. And yeah, Team Spirit, I'm sure they're going to be breathing a sigh of relief after what was a pretty good first 20-25 minutes coming through from HYDRA.
Yeah, that it was, but just got to a stage where Yutaro was able to do Yutaro things on the Juggernaut. He's going to be continue his undefeated 100%, 4 out of 4 games here for him on the Jug, and we see what can happen once he's able to get to that stage. Was honestly looking grim for him. I mean, he was 2-3, and then all of a sudden finished 13-3. So an incredible performance from him. In the end, Spirit are going to be able to get knock the monkey off their shoulder in these game ones, and puts them in the driver's seat now heading into game 2. There's a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. HYDRA, they need to try and work on some things. Of course, they do have a little bit of time in the break. We'll see if that's going to be long enough for them to fix what happened in game 1, so they can potentially send us to a game 3. But we'll find out what we have in store for us after the break.